In my most recent video, I broke down my portfolio in the stocks that I currently hold. Right now, I only have 3 companies. An order from largest to smallest is Dropbox, Amazon, and calls for iRobot, playing the arbitrage bet that's going to be happening over likely these next couple of months. But one of the companies that I held in here was Google. And Google is one that has dominated the market over the last couple of decades. For pretty much 20 years plus, Google has dominated its share and its market share in the search engine market. Now, this picture perfectly summarizes today's video in just one sentence. When you're at the top, there's only one way to go. Now, if you're at the top, like Google, and you have about 93% market share of the search engine market, you know that there's really nowhere to go except down. Sure, they could get 94, 95%, but really, the main issue that I see here is 2 things. ChatGPT and the new Bing. Now, Bing has been revamped via Microsoft using its new search engine, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. So stay tuned, it's going to be a fun one. We're going to talk exactly why I ended up selling Google out of my portfolio and what made me decide the reason that I think Google is likely going to be going down over the next couple of years. Now, it's very easy to look at these charts and say, okay, Google was roughly $150 just a year and a half ago, and today it trades at $94 a share. So Jordan, are you crazy for selling out at around $100? Is it likely going to keep on going up from here? Well, we're going to talk about all that in today's video. But if you haven't got signed up already, M1 Finance is having a referral bonus of up to $100 if you use my referral link down below in the description. So get signed up with that, like the 134 people that have done so far. It would help support me and my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce you guys to ChatGPT if you're not sure what it is. Now, this is an example of what I did earlier. I put write an essay about neurology and its effect on parenthood, and it spit out this huge response in about a whole 5 seconds. Now let's go to new chat here. What if I just wrote write a YouTube script about growth stock investing, and if I hit search and just give it a couple seconds here we go. This is the amazing part of what this technology has to offer. ChatGPT is an amazing service and it is currently being funded primarily by Microsoft. Now, since Microsoft has Microsoft Azure, similar to Amazon's AWS, a company that I'm heavily invested in, they can easily fund the web infrastructure and all the data that it's pulling to do stuff like this, which, funny enough, it references Amazon right here where my mouse is at. But this is a company that I think could potentially revamp and disrupt the search engine market, and you can see how fast it's spitting out all this information as we're talking right here. It just gave me a full script to talk about with a full video describing different stocks, different risk and rewards of the market, talking about how to evaluate different companies in conclusion and all that good stuff. Now, Bing introduces how it's going to integrate ChatGPT with its normal search, and it gives an example right here. This is currently in beta, but it will be rolling out and revamping in full likely here in 2023. It gives an example. I need to throw a dinner party for 6 people who are vegetarian. Can you suggest a 3-course menu with a chocolate dessert? Let's click try it and watch it do its magic. See all this stuff populating right here? This is the exact thing that I think is really cool that could be integrated between Bing and ChatGPT. And who would be the one to benefit from this? Who's that in the top left corner of the screen where my mouse is at? That's right, Microsoft. Now, Google has still grown phenomenally. Even in 2022, despite the recession, they still grew almost 10% in the last year. But their margins have started to compress. Despite having 10% higher revenue, their overall free cash flow, which is another way of saying profits, went down over 10% last year, despite having higher revenue, because this company has skyrocketing costs. Their R&D, their G&A, their S&M, and their CapEx have all been increasing at a really rapid rate. And this is a company that spends a lot of money on R&D and an extremely high amount on cost for paying developers and employees to develop their products that they're doing online. But really what this boils down to is that ChatGPT is an amazing service. It's an amazing product, and it is one that I think will likely be very successful over the next decade. But I really see 3 scenarios here. Number 1, and I think number 1 and number 3 are the least likely. I think what will likely happen here is that more than likely number 2, the average scenario, is likely where we'll end up. So first off, we have the best case scenario for Google. Google feels little to no effect from ChatGPT, Microsoft, and Bing. ChatGPT ends up as a useless fad that quickly dies out. Economics from the new search engine are not compatible in the real world and are quickly scrapped due to a bleeding cost structure. Competition in the search market remains futile, and Google maintains its dominant position at over plus 90% of all internet searches. Google continues to be a cash cow without skipping a beat. Now, I think this is one of the less likely scenarios. This is assumed that ChatGPT is a fad and pretty much amounts to nothing. Now, what is number two? This is what I think will likely happen. This is my guess, and this is the average scenario. This is the midpoint. ChatGPT, Microsoft, and Bing begin to take a small to moderate size of the market share from Google. ChatGPT and Bing become real competitive threats to Google's business. The impenetrable search business is, in fact, becomes disruptible. Economics for the new search model improves and become more efficient in scale. Google is forced to slowly bleed market share or implement a new costly business strategy that effectively cannibalizes their own business. Google is lowered to a 70 to 85% market share of all searches. Google increases research and development spending to counteract the threat and lowers margin/free cash flow. I think this is what will likely happen. Not all, just a decent little chunk, maybe 10 to 20% of all searches will likely go to ChatGPT and or Bing, however they end up implementing these two together, and it will likely take some of the cash and more importantly the cash flow from Google, and they will likely have to spend a lot of R&D to compete with the new ChatGPT-like search engine. Now, number three, and this is also less likely, number one and number three I don't think will happen. I think number two will likely happen, but this is the worst case scenario. ChatGPT dominates the search market and overtakes Google with its more efficient model. Search markets change faster than Google can adapt, and it is left in the dust. Google's market share of plus 90% is diminished to fractions of its older self. R&D costs for Google skyrocket as they scrambled to create a ChatGPT-like service, but due to the diminishing market share, rising costs, and lowering revenues, Google admits defeat over the next few years. Google is forced to rely on its less profitable segments such as Google Cloud and other bets to remain solvent. Now, Google is one that I will think will take a long time to dethrone. People don't just switch their search engines entirely overnight in terms of billions of people. Billions of people are used to using YouTube and Google search every single day, and that does not change overnight. But I think this midpoint is most likely. And here's what I'll close out with. When you look at this market cap right here, 1.16 trillion. What did they do in free cash flow last year? 60 billion. So if you pull out your calculators, you can see that right now the current price of free cash flow as of 2022 profits was around a 19, based on where we're at today. Just so you know, the average in the market is right now currently around a 17 price to free cash flow. Google trades at a 19, which is slightly above. Now, I do think Google has traded much higher than that in the average of the market, and that has led to its outperformance because investors are willing to price this company so high because they expect phenomenal returns. And when you've seen a company compound annual growth rate over the last decade at around 20%, it absolutely makes sense that that was the case because this company was compounding at a rate that had pretty much never been seen before. Not only its top line, but its bottom line profitability as well. However, when you consider now that there's some major headwinds, the fact that Google is very bloated, they have skyrocketing costs from their general administrative, they overhired by a significant amount, their margins have compressed as the recession has led to people not being willing to pay for as much as ads as they used to, and now you also have this ChatGPT/Bing/Microsoft threat that is going on over these next couple of years, maybe forever. I think that there's a lot of potential headwinds that can not only A, hurt this bottom line free cash flow, but B, even if it never even touches the profits, it will overall make investor sentiment very negative. And that includes myself. While there's many awesome, incredible things about Google, I sold out of my position for a profit at around $100 a share. I think I sold at 102 the other day, shortly before it started dropping. I know it was right around here. I think it was on February 8th, if I'm remembering correctly. But long story short, when I'm really going to be interested in Google again, is likely I'll start my position when it goes back to around $80 a share, if it goes there. If I'm wrong, if the stock continues to skyrocket back up to 100, 120, 150, 200, that's perfectly okay. I'm okay sitting on the side sidelines. I don't think that'll happen. I think that it's very likely we'll see Google stagnate or even go down over the short term, over the next 6 to say 18 months, and we'll see how this chat GPT thing plans out. If it goes to $80 to $70 to $60, I'll begin buying and building out a position larger and larger as it goes down. But in the meantime, I'm happy with the 3 stocks that I own. I like my weightings, but I do want to be adding some more positions. And a couple of ones that I'm eyeing are Google if they continue to go lower in stock price. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here's my performance. I forgot to update that at the beginning of the video. Here's my performance as of today. Here's my current holdings, yada yada. It doesn't matter. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end, and I'll catch you guys next time.